Okay, so MUN rules of procedure. How do we do this Model UN thing? Until now, we wrote a speech, we learned about our countries, we had some ideas of what this is, but what is the activity we've been learning to prepare for? So, as a comment to educators, I'll say that before we even start with Model UN, because it's a lot of rules, and they're rules that once you know them, they're great and they're fairly easy to master. And the activity has many levels beyond just knowing the rules. But in the beginning, when you start playing basketball, you can't run with the ball. You have to dribble. You can't kick it. You need to throw it. Things like that. So that's the basics of what we're going to be doing today. And I want to say when you bring your students into this, sort of like I did with all of you, I didn't go through the rules. I think that giving the rules without practicing them immediately afterwards can be very overwhelming. And that's not what we're looking to do. This is a fun activity. It's a place where people can actually persuade each other in a real way. And like I said, I bribe people for chocolate and people like make friends and influence people. So to have it not as fun because people get overwhelmed by lots of technical rules of procedure is a pity, and I feel it's missing the point. So, with this in mind, I say that when I have kids prepare for Model UN beforehand, I just say write a 100-word speech with your clash, information, action, what you want to do, why you're doing it, or some kind of information, and then how you're going to do it in 3 steps, because the how can make a very big difference. For example, if right now I am saying we should all eat a pizza, we can have Marvin
Good
buy the pizza.
evening. סליחה שאיחרתי.
No problem. Just put your country before your name. So Marvin can buy us a pizza. Marvin can make us a pizza. We can all decide that we are going to make our own pizzas. There are many possibilities. This is why saying what the how is so important. All right. So we're going to start with rules of procedure. We're going to see what all these rules are and how they work. So the first thing that we want to do when doing rules of procedure is to understand points. Now, points are used just like anything here. This is a structure for discussion, and it's based on Robert's Rules of Order for parliaments. This is what was used in the old days of the UN, but it's more like the, United States government than it is every aspect of the UN, because not every place has a democratic, body where everyone gets a voice. But it's patterned on this because it functions. And the rules, by the way, eventually, as you advance in this activity, are something you can use to your own advantage. Like they're something you can play with, just like any form of structure. So there are 3 points, and there's good to have. Specifically for new participants, point of inquiry is a question about the rules. If you're not sure about the rules, say chair. I put myself chair. Point of inquiry, and then you we'll ask the question, for example, how do we start the discussion? So that's number one. Point of personal privilege is for anything which isn't clearly in the rules, like basic needs. I'm too cold. Can we go on a break? I can't understand someone. And it's the only time you're able to interrupt someone is point of personal privilege. I can't understand the other speaker. Otherwise, zero interruptions. People only speak on their own time. And finally is point of information, which is a question to another speaker on what they said. This can only happen during the general speakers list. I'm going to explain what all these things are. If you'll remember in our last lesson I did a pretty quick overview, but now we're going to get into it and try out all the parts. So these are points. Also, by the way, the slideshow should be in the Moodle if you want to follow along. But I would say for yourselves, point of inquiry is the main one. But if you don't even know that, say, hey, Daniel, what is the point to ask a question? You can ask questions anytime. For beginners in Model UN, it is encouraged. Afterwards, we get the idea, and there's less points of inquiry. So these are points that can be used. By the way, in class, you can also have students use these points. Point of inquiry can be a question to about, the structure of the class. Point of personal privilege to go to the bathroom. Point of information is a question to the previous speaker, which you can have questions to other participants or questions to you. So these are all things that can be used. I know people like teachers and who've made one of the students a chair of a class. So the student now sits in the front and facilitates discussion for the other students using these rules. So there are many things we can use with them outside of Model UN. So What we're going to do today is a simplified walkthrough. And I say it's simplified because I feel that when you show every aspect of the rules, it can be very overwhelming to participants, and that's not something that we want to do. So I say that Model UN has 5 parts: roll call, opening statements, debate, resolutions, and voting. And resolutions is writing the documents that you're going to vote on. In truth, you can probably find other steps, but this is the overview. And the reason I structure it like this, and I recommend the beginning, is that some things like roll call are fairly simple. And when you feel you finished part one and you did it successfully, you get more confidence. Because as opposed to debate or almost any other type of speaking activity, in all of them you get to speak once. Here you can speak as many times as you want. Now, for some people and some of us, it's exciting. We're like, oh my God, if for example, I told Ohad that he had endless debate speeches to give. Like there's no end. You can talk as many as you want to. What would you think? Yeah, exactly. Okay. So right now, Ohad would be very happy. And I say for the same thing. When I did Model UN for the first time, I was very excited. I was like, oh my God, because in debate you get to speak one time for 7 minutes and that's it. You're done. If you didn't say it too bad, try to get it in a question, but that's usually it. Here, I was like, I can talk as much as I want. Now, I'm used to speaking for 7 minutes. So speaking for 2 minutes was easy. And me and another guy, actually, oh, how do you know him? Uri Feldman was also in the Model UN room. And he motioned to change the speaker time to 2.5 minutes. Now, the whole committee agreed to this, not knowing what they were getting into. But him and I finished our 2.5 minute speeches all the time, and we spoke every few minutes. Everyone else wasn't even clocking a minute. So that's just sort of the difference of what different types of speech activities can result in. So in Model UN, if you make a longer speaker time, you can talk more, but so can everyone else. And as opposed to a debate where there's 6 or 4 or 8 people, in Model UN, there's 30 or 40 people in the room. So if you're talking for 2 minutes, everyone's doubling. So it's something to factor in. So starting with going through this, and I want to tell you all we're about to go on a journey together. Within probably 90 minutes to, give or take, maybe a little bit more, we're going to understand what Model UN is. We don't know what it is yet, but by the end of this, we will. And that's the cool thing about where you really have to do it to understand. And you can also do it on Zoom. In person adds extra elements, but we're working with what we have and definitely spending less time on the road. So, the 5 parts of Model UN for today's purposes are roll call, opening statements, debate, resolutions, and voting. We're going to start with roll call. So, roll call is the beginning of the flow of debate. This is the overall structure of how Model UN works. There's roll call, followed by opening statements, where everyone gives their opening speech. Then there's something called the debate section is the middle, with you see the different arrows pointing around. We'll learn what all that is. General speakers list, moderated and unmoderated caucus, working papers where you write down your ideas, draft resolutions once they're voted on, and then voting procedure, which is the process of voting. By the end of this, we'll understand it all, but for now, we just need to know roll call. What is roll call? Roll call is taken at the beginning of every session, and delegates have their countries called and the answer present and voting. That's basically it. So when you do roll call, you say present and voting, and that means that you are here and able to vote. Now, to make this feel a little more Model UN-like, I'm going to bring some Model UN software. There's software developed for Model UN that exists solely for the purpose of facilitating debate and making it run smoothly. So, let's see what countries we have here. Can someone read to me the different countries that we have? They should be alphabetical on the side. Jeremy, can you read me all the countries?
Sure. Germany, Chile, Indonesia, Kenya, New
Wait,
Zealand,
let's slow down. Okay, who else?
Nigeria,
Yeah.
United Kingdom.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I can't see the list you're reading from.
You need to look at participants. I'm not sharing a screen right now. So if you need to see the
Ah, I understand.
participants.
Okay.
Exactly. By
Thank
the way,
you.
this is if you ever do this online with students, it automatically makes things more or less um makes it alphabetical mostly.
You
Right.
recommend sitting in alphabetical order?
In classrooms, I always make the students sit alphabetically. It's just like it breaks up their friend groups and
Mhm.
it gives you a really neutral new place to work from.
Mhm.
Okay, Ella, what country are you? Ella Balsi? All right, let's keep going. Ella will join us if she joins us. Which other countries do we
Um,
have?
South Korea, Argentina, Australia.
We have in Australia. Okay.
Yeah, they're not in alphabetical order for some reason.
Okay.
Japan,
Yeah.
South Africa, Spain,
One second. Africa, Spain, got.
South Korea. I think I said already. Sweden and Turkey.
Okay, so let's see. One second. I'm gonna share my screen again.
Daniel,
Okay,
did you
so
call me?
yes, what country? What country are you?
Qatar, Qatar. I can't it. I'll add it in a second. Somebody sent me a
Okay,
cute.
I got it. I changed it for you.
Uh,
Okay, so for conduct roll call, we conduct roll call alphabetically, and we need to say present and voting. So I'm gonna put it in the chat so we can see the roll call, but here, present and voting. Boom. All right. So I call your name, you say present and voting. Argentina. Now, everyone take your mind. Oh, by the way, so you know
Present
you're
and voting.
beautiful. So I tell students, you know where you're coming up. Don't be caught off guard. We know the order of the alphabet. So everyone, when you see, like right now, if you're anywhere up to the letter, G, take yourself off mute, everyone, and see, you can see the order and the participants going through, and you see them up ahead here. Okay, so we're gonna start one more time from Argentina. Sorry, and we're just gonna go through. Okay, by this saying really great when people say present and vote, and they've never said it before. It goes fast, clean, clear. So Argentina,
Present and voting.
Australia,
Present and voting.
Chile,
Present and voting.
Indonesia, Indonesia. Is there an Indonesia here? All right. Absent. Japan.
Present and voting.
Let's just people open their mic a second before, like when you see her coming up, ready, be ready. Like South Korea. 20 points for South Korea. Kenya. No Kenya. All right, next. Kenya, you were on mute. All right, let's do this. I'm doing this again. Everybody, I'm going to add Qatar. Everybody, open your
Kenya is
microphone.
here voting and
Okay, Kenya, keep your microphone open. Everyone keep
okay.
your microphone open. I want nobody on mute. We're going to go through this. But there's a group of students. I'd be like, all right, everybody stand up. Like, no, okay? Everybody's mic's open. I want no pauses. We're going through. No space cadets. All right. Three, two, and we're starting roll call. Now, committee is in session. Argentina,
Present and voting.
Australia,
Present and voting.
Chile,
Present and voting.
Indonesia, no Indonesia, Japan,
Present and voting.
Kenya,
Present and voting.
New Zealand,
Present and voting.
Nigeria,
Present and voting.
Qatar,
present and voting.
Republic of Korea, South Korea,
Present and voting.
South Africa,
Present and voting.
Spain,
Present and voting.
Sweden,
Present and voting.
Turkey,
Present and voting.
and I realized that I didn't put Germany on this list, so we're also going to add
Okay, Daniel.
And
Italy.
UK. You didn't
Okay.
add me.
All right, United Kingdom. Very good. So we're adding them both. See, software
Okay.
is. And Germany,
Present and voting.
Indonesia,
Present and voting.
United Kingdom.
Present and voting.
Excellent. Did we miss anyone? All right, excellent. So, see how smooth that was? And we have now successfully completed roll call. Look at that. Feels good. We've never done this before, and yet in less than a minute, even with the lags, we all said present and voting. And I would say that when you're doing this with students, this is a great thing to start with because doing this alien activity, I also make them get up and like pick their placards up. This is a success. It's like, good job. You have completed part one. So,
Daniel, I have a
yes,
question. Can
yes,
we have this link for this app? The link for this app?
yes. It's called MUN Command, and I will put it in the chat. And if people want, I can also add it in the Moodle. There are
Because
other
we can
software, but
use
this
it.
is the one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
great, perfect. Here you go. Pretty intuitive. Okay, let us continue. So now we have roll call. We know a few things. One, we know how many countries are here in the upper right. We have 16 participants. And in most cases, what we need to know is that we have a simple majority. Simple majority of 16 is what? 50% plus 1. How much is that?
51%.
Right, 51%. But how much is 51%? How much is 50% plus one person of 16?
9.
9. Very good. If 8 is half, 9. 9 of you have to vote for our idea in the end for it to pass. Okay, so you see in this software in the upper right, we see that. Okay, next we move on to thing
Daniel,
number.
only the first one passes, right? So if you're not the first one that passes, it doesn't get voted on.
The first resolution to pass passes. Yes. If the first one fails, we move on to the second one, but they could also all fail. You could talk and achieve nothing. Part two,
But
opening.
theoretically, if you're not the first vote and you would be the second, and you have like enough people to vote for you, but the first one goes through, then you also have nothing basically.
Are we talking about the document at the end, or are we talking about something else?
The resolution at the end.
Right, resolution at the end. So the resolution at the end, there'll be however many there are. People are going to be promising their sides. We'll get them when we reach that point. But just as a technical level, one can pass, unless the rules say otherwise. Okay, number two, opening statements. Luckily, we've been working on these for already a number of weeks. So we did roll call. Beginning of every session, we have a roll call. After we take our break, we're going to have another roll call. Opening statements. The opening statement is the first speech given by each delegate in a Model UN simulation. The speakers do their opening statements in alphabetical order. So we're going to be starting probably with Australia or Argentina, no, AU, or Argentina, and then going all the way through United Kingdom. Now, what you need to do, what I make students do all the time, is take flowcharts. They keep track. Okay, and we talked about this a bit last time. Opening statements will have a lot of information. We're not used to hearing this much jam-packed information in 60 seconds because it's a very carefully calibrated, piece of art here. So opening statements help other people write down and hear what people are saying. But most importantly, they also help us stay focused. So much information is going to be coming at us without writing them down, we are going to get lost. Okay? And I'm sure just like when you do debate, when the person's speaking, you can't rely on memory. We cannot rely on memory. So, how do we write this down? Flowcharts, what I recommend as a minimum is like this. For those of you who are on a computer and it's comfortable, you can make an Excel spreadsheet, you can make a Google Doc with tables, you can use a piece of paper. But what is essential and important is you write the country name, you write at least their clash of what they want to do. If everyone here followed the formula, it should be their first or second sentence. And then, can we work together? Okay, and I spoke about working together, and I said that you can work with anybody who doesn't say the opposite of what you do. Okay, the more different your ideas are, the more likely you are to be able to work together. So in the flowchart, country, clash can work together. I'll have everyone can please start making these for themselves while I talk a little bit more. So, given an example of what this would look like. Norway has the clash. The topic is food aid to North Korea, same topic as ours. Norway's clash. Give North Korea all the food without conditions. So North Korea gets all the food without conditions. Now, this is what I said as Norway. I start writing down the other countries' speeches. All right. Brian, can you please read me Peru's speech? You're on mute.
I can if you
Peru
want.
speech?
I can.
Peru in the slideshow. We'll have more readers
Slideshow.
soon.
Wait, where are we in the slideshow?
Yeah, read me the speech by
Let's see, MUN flowchart from, it says Norway.
Yeah, but so go down. So okay, read me Norway, then read me Peru.
Okay. Well, all right. So you've just got the clash listed. Okay. So
Correct.
Peru says give North Korea all the food within 1 month. Okay. I was looking for a full speech. Excuse me. Okay.
Okay. Can we work together?
Let's see. Norway says give North Korea all the food without conditions. Peru says give North Korea all the food within 1 month. Yeah, you can work together.
Wonderful. Okay. Who else wanted to read?
I can, Danielle.
All right, Lorraine, please read Laos and tell me if
Yeah.
you can work together.
Yeah, never give food to never give food to unclear power. No, we cannot work together.
Why not?
Because never. We have never.
Okay, and never. And what does the other side say?
Yeah, give food to a nuclear power. Oh, sorry. Now what I get it. I get it. Yeah, we can.
Why can you?
Just a second. I'm trying to just get this table. Okay. Can we work? No, it's negative. So
Why?
never. We have a condition here.
So good. There's a condition, never give food to nuclear power. And
We have
Norway says give the food to North Korea without conditions.
Yeah.
And North Korea's a nuclear power. Beautiful. So you can't work together. All
Yeah,
right.
now I can get it. Yeah,
All
now I
right.
can understand how
Let's
it's
have
working.
one more reader to read New Zealand. We're going to have Anna, because she actually is New Zealand, to read New Zealand.
New Zealand. Nuclear power is a force for good when creating energy, but dangerous as a weapon.
Beautiful. Okay.
This New Zealand disagrees, but okay.
Excellent.
Well,
So
I'd say it says here 50-50. I think yes.
okay, so
From
you
the
think it's a yes.
research.
Okay, so good. So first of all, good. This New Zealand is going to say something completely new. We're excited to hear it. But if you look at the slideshow here, New Zealand in this speech says nuclear power is a force for good when creating energy, but dangerous as a weapon. So does that mean that but there's what they're not saying? What are they not saying? Can someone tell me what are they not saying in that speech, in that class?
They're not telling whether they want to give food or not.
Exactly. They're not talking about North Korea. They're just stating facts about nuclear power. So as a result, we don't know what they want. So it's a question mark. So can we work together or not? We don't know. And usually when you present a point of information and ask them directly, they will give an answer or they'll have to, but then they're playing catch up. Because at this point, if there's 18 of us and we speak for 1 minute each and New Zealand doesn't give their opinion, they then have to wait till whenever they speak next. And given the natural time things take, it might be an hour into the simulation before we actually hear what they want. And by then we could have found a majority and moved on, and then they're playing catch up. So you want to be very clear about your position in the beginning. Okay, so that's opening statements. So that's what they are. And we see here in the chart, they fall directly after roll call. So we're now going to do opening statements. Everyone here should have opening statements. If you do not, at least have a clash of what you want to do. We're now going to do opening statements. Opening statements are up to 1 minute. This is why I told everyone you have to do up to 120 words. Read them comfortably and slowly. Maybe you could have added another 10. Maybe you can't manage that pace, but I want to be comfortable for everyone. So thank you, everyone. We have done our opening statement. We have finished roll call. We're now going to start with opening statements, starting with Argentina. Argentina, you have the floor.
Okay. Dear delegates, the Argentinian delegation believes the World Food Program should direct the 240,000 tons of food aid from North Korea to Malawi within 4 months. According to the World Food Program, 5,734,000 people in Malawi face acute food insecurity
after a drought caused by El Nino affected 23 of 28 districts and destroyed approximately 1,540,000 tons of maize. Based on WFP rations, this aid can feed 1,060,539 people for 1 year. The WFP has a vast distribution network in place to ensure the aid reaches the civilians in need. With no way to supervise distribution in North Korea, redirecting the food to Malawi guarantees it reaches civilians. Aid must go to Malawi, where delivery can be guaranteed.
All right. Thank you very much, Argentina. So I want to say thank you for your speech. This, by the way, was a very good example of a good clash, but too much information and no call to action. Because we basically got the entire speech telling us why, and we understood why within 2 sentences. So you basically give like 2 sentences on why, and then tell us how you're going to do it. What is the criteria? Okay, Malawi had a famine, we should give them the food within 4 months. But like, tell us, where is it going to go? What distribution plan? Are there conditions? Whatever else it might be. There's no how. Okay, so it's something that, that's what I'm saying. It's like, why is easy. You found a ton of why. You brought us like, 90 words of why. But, for that's what I'm saying from all of us, we're like, okay, but like more detail. Okay. So anyway, very good, Tamara. Good job jumping in as Argentina. And you saw it finished up pretty much in a minute. How many words do you have?
I think 90 or 86.
You had more than 86 words, but you saw they finished around a minute. Good pacing, good time. All right, thank you, Argentina. Moving into Australia. Australia, you have the floor.
I'm very sorry. My kid is crying. Can I be the last one?
No problem. We
Okay,
definitely
thank you
understand
so
life
much. Sorry
circumstance.
for that. Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
you, Australia. All right, Chile, you have the floor.
Okay. The Republic of Chile believes that we should not give the 240,000 tons of food aid to North Korea. Rather, we should give it to Haiti. Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere and is teetering on the brink of state failure. It has an infant mortality rate of 36 per thousand versus North Korea's 15 per thousand. Haiti has an average life expectancy of 66 years versus 73 for North Korea. Moreover, Haiti is a peaceful country which poses no threat to its neighbors. Aggressive countries which pose a threat to world peace have forfeited any claim to the world's generosity. For all these reasons, the Republic of Chile respectfully suggests that the available food aid should be given to Haiti, not North Korea. I yield the floor.
Okay, thank you, Chile. First of all, very nicely yielding the floor. That's always a nice thing to have delegates do. The one thing I would say again here, you're also missing a call to action, as in like give us the 3 steps of your plan to give the food to Haiti. But at least you had space in your time to do that. All right, so I'll talk more about the structure afterwards. But okay, so we see one for Malawi in 4 months. Way says give the food to Haiti. So far, I have 2 speakers. North Korea is not a contender. Doesn't mean they won't be. Next up, Germany, you have the floor.
Dear delegates, the Federal Republic of Germany supports the continued sending of 240,000 tons of food aid to North Korea in February on the condition that it doesn't test nuclear weapons for another 6 months. The majority of North Koreans live with food insecurity. Approximately 10.6 million people are not getting enough food to eat. But just last week, on January 27th, North Korea launched 2 short-range ballistic missiles, which both landed in the Sea of Japan. Germany condemns this action. Germany proposes a plan to freeze delivery of food aid to North Korea for a period of 6 months. If no missile testing has occurred within that time, the 240,000 tons of food aid will be distributed in batches of 60,000 tons per month, or a month for 4 months. Thank you.
Excellent. So by the way, this is sort of the difference. Here, there was a clear call to action, like very much saying like we'd give them the food, but they tested missiles January 22nd. So now we want to free step one. And I suggest that you get used to saying the steps 1, 2, 3. It just makes it clearer for everyone else listening. But he says step one, freeze delivery 6 months. Step two, if there's no testing, food goes to 10,000 tons per month. 3, till the food is completed. Okay, so really good. Just one question, Germany. Who will get the food if North Korea do not agree to this test?
That's a good question.
Make it up. Quick, quick, quick.
Somalia.
Somalia, beautiful. Okay. This is the one thing, but sometimes you'll have a speech which is just anti-North Korea the whole way with no policy. So right now, great. North Korea gets the food if condition. If not condition, Somalia. Good job, Germany. Next up, Indonesia. You have the floor.
Just a second. Wait, just a second. Okay. Indonesia would give the 240 tons of food to North Korea if they will keep the minimal official trade between them and encourage regional stability in North Korea. We'll keep diplomacy relation with North Korea ever since the 1960s. So our plan is to the United Nations would supervise if North Korea keeps the regional stability for at least 6 months, and if they don't keep it, then the food will not be sent to North Korea.
Okay. And who should get the food if they don't keep the regional stability?
Oh, I haven't marked it.
Don't say that. Just pick someone. Pick anyone.
Anyone? Argentina, maybe.
Beautiful. Great. More
Okay.
important than getting a right answer is no answer. Anyone? Good. So great. So we have North Korea, stability, some kind of policy, supervision period, and if not, the food goes to Argentina. Very nice. Next up,
Okay.
Japan.
Thank you.
You have the floor.
Dear delegates, Japan agrees aid be given to North Korea with two conditions. Number one, a sit down of the chairman with world leaders within the next 3 months. Number two, freezing of missile testing within those 3 months. The 651-kilometer distance between North Korea and Japan and the average missile flight time of 9 minutes to us means that North Korea's missile plan is an existential threat. However, it is time for democratic countries to diplomatically re-engage this significant regional actor. Therefore, we call on this committee to deliver the food to North Korea on condition of a diplomatic sit-down and freezing of the tests. This allows citizens to get much-needed food and leaders to have a much-needed conversation. Thank you.
All right. And who gets the food if they don't?
I'll join on the idea. Well, actually, if it's whole food, I'll give it to the United States. But if it's regular food, I'd give it to Somalia also.
All right, very good. Make sure just like that every part of the plan is covered. Very nice. Sorry, I did not start the clock. I'm gonna restart it. Great, thank you, Japan. Okay, so now hopefully everyone is taking notes. This is very important because at this point we've had only 5 speeches and it feels like a lot, and we're going to do more than double. Okay, so everyone should have at least one line on who they want to get the food. You don't necessarily need you don't need their facts at this point. Like just know what they want and put a plus and a minus. Can you work together? Okay, just as a quick overview here of my notes just to get an idea. We have here in the beginning, Australia talks about Malawi, Chile talks about food in Haiti, and then you have 3 countries who are for North Korea getting the food, but with conditions. Some conditions are more strict than others. So it's really a question of can they work together? Because right now, if it's the same similar conditions, that's already 3 countries with one idea and 2 others with non-connected ideas. So what's that going to be? So we'll see, but the point is we're starting to see a picture coming together. Starting to see coalitions potentially building. Right? Next up, Kenya. You have the floor. Kenya, when you're ready.
Okay, just a second, please.
No problem.
Okay, here it is. Okay. Kenya calls for the immediate and unconditional delivery of WFP food aid to North Korea, independent of military or political tensions. More than 10 million people in North Korea face food insecurity, including children, pregnant women, and the elderly. Hunger is not a weapon of diplomacy, it is humanitarian emergency. The 240,000 tons of food represent survival, not support for any regime. Our proposal is clear. 1. The World Food Programme will lead and coordinate all deliveries. 2. UN-mandated monitoring teams will supervise transport, storage, and distribution. 3. Aid will be delivered in paced shipments to ensure transparency and access to civilians only. Kenya stands firm. Saving lives must come before politics.
Thank you very much, Kenya. Definitely a lot of emotion, but in the end, we get some practical ideas. If they say no to this plan, who gets the food?
Oh. Malawi, I guess. I haven't.
No, okay, everyone. I'm saying, I like, what if I ask you who gets the food? Whoever doesn't have an alternative after conditions, think of it now, and just say a country clearly. We don't know that you're secure or not. We're meeting you now for the first time as Kenya. So if the chair asks who else should get the food, just say this country. You can say Belgium, you can say the U.S., you can say, you know, the richest countries. Just say a country.
So I can say even I can say it randomly. This is what you're saying.
I mean, it's better to have some kind of idea for it, but the exercise here is this. We have a food plan. We need
Yes.
to know what to do with the food, and a lot of people bring conditions. You brought a beautiful three-step plan. But let's say North Korea say, no, we're not doing that. Are we going to leave the food on the boat? So we need, like, policy oriented. We always have to be thinking toward what policy are we doing? What is going to happen? This is the difference between Model UN and almost any other speaking thing. Here it's very much about the tachlis. We have a question in the practical, physical, empirical world, and our goal is to make some kind of change. We have a boat of food. It's supposed to go to North Korea, but where does it go to? And what happens? We decide that together. Okay? So
Okay, I
very
will
good.
fix it.
No, first of all, your call to action was very nice. Like you wanted to have the World Food Program coordinate deliveries, UN mandate supervising transport, make sure it's delivered to civilians. Again, like you guys can debate how much this is going to work, but it was a clear idea. Thank you, Kenya. New Zealand, you have the floor.
Thank you. Honorable delegates, New Zealand supports sending strictly monitored humanitarian food aid to North Korean civilians while maintaining full compliance with UN sanctions against the regime. With 10.3 million civilians facing food insecurity and approximately 1.2 million ton grain deficit, we must act quickly. However, our lack of formal diplomatic ties with North Korea demands the rigorous framework. We propose, first, UN exclusive distribution, bypass governmental channels entirely, and ensure aid reaches those in need. Second, technological oversight, implementing GPS tracking and constant on-site international monitoring. 3. Zero tolerance policy, immediate stop of any aid supply if a military diversion is detected. New Zealand stands firm. We support the vulnerable while maintaining the full integrity of UN sanctions. Thank you.
Oh, wow. What time control. You saw that. Hit it on the second. Everyone's impressed.
I tried.
Yeah, you know, you either you practiced or you got very lucky, but I can say that's the way you want to like slide into home plate. Just, you know, for those who know baseball, it's just like you hit it and the clock went zero.
I
Like
honestly tried not to cough in the middle, so
all right, good timing. And who's gonna get the food if they say no?
Kenya.
Kenya, beautiful. Kenya, look at that. You're popular, Tom. Okay.
Yes.
Great. By the way, that was
I knew what I was speaking.
yeah, no, and you even had some time for sound bites, but that was but you saw the organization. It's like what, why, how, and how got the majority. That's the most important part. Very good. Thank you, New Zealand. And clearly different from the previous New Zealand. And you had your mic on before, so definitely like 3 out of 3 here. Nigeria, you have the floor. Nigeria, you're still on mute. One
Thank
more
you.
time. Go.
Okay. Distinguished delegates of the UN, millions in North Korea, close to half of its 26 million citizens, are suffering due to malnourishment. Due to increased pest infestations and irregular climate, harvest and production have been severely limited. Coupled with the still recovering economy from the 2020 COVID lockdowns, this situation has left 12 million of the North Korean population in a state of malnourishment. Nigeria proposes the immediate sending of food aid to North Korea by sending 240,000 tons of food reserves, including fortified and therapeutic foods for more at-risk demographics. Number two, the establishment of a food distribution assistance program to make sure that those demographics get the assistance that they need. I yield.
All right, very nice. So I would say in this case, by the way, this is where I'd say like strategically for you, first of all, you have a good plan. By the way, we're now starting to see, or at least I think I'm pointing out, that those interested in a supervision program of some kind or food getting to the people seem to be the largest interest block so far. We still have a few countries to go, but we're starting to see, pay attention that like a map of interest is starting to come together now that we're probably a little bit beyond the half point of the delegates. Number two, and this is just like pointing out that strategically, you spent a lot of time on why. Like you read a lot of and Fred took about half your speech, and I think you could have had more at the end. Definitely sounding there was more how to hear. So with why, like information, two sentences. It's I'm saying when you see students, it's easy to talk about why. How is not natural for us. So like it's a trap. Focus on the how. How really should be about 60% of your speech. It's not how we're used to thinking. We're used to thinking a lot of why and then a one-line how at the end. But here, how is what we're talking about. Like the why we can get in a sentence. Okay. Anyway, very good. Good for your distribution program. We're now moving on to the next country, Qatar. Qatar, if you're ready, you have the floor. All right. Qatar does not seem to be here. We're moving on to South Korea, the Republic of Korea. South Korea, if you're ready, you have the
Yeah, I'm
floor.
ready.
All
Okay.
right. Take it away.
South Korea's dear delegates. South Korea feels we should send only half of the intended food aid to North Korea. Half of the population, some 12 million North Koreans, remain undernourished while their government prioritizes military investments, and it is estimated it spent over $4 billion on armament in 2019. Our plan is that half of the amount be sent under strict UN monitoring to ensure civilian-only distribution. In addition, shipments must immediately cease if diversion to military or elites is detected. And three, we insist that this aid must not reduce assistance to other crisis nations such as Yemen, Syria, and Somalia. I yield the rest of the time to the next delegates.
We're not taking other delegates during opening speeches.
Okay.
But just because it already starts the discussion prematurely, but very, very nice. So who should get the other half of your food in your plan?
I said Yemen or Syria or Somalia.
Pick one or pick all three, but pick. Don't say or.
Somalia.
Okay. Like the and UN bureaucrats we're giving these orders to, they're not paid to think, they're paid to do. So we have to tell them exactly, but very nice. Okay. Good. Thank you, South Korea. Moving on to South Africa. South Africa, you have the floor.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, South Africa is tired of being asked to choose between feeding people and playing politics. Food is not a bragging chip and will not support any plan that treats it as one. Right now, millions of people in North Korea are starving. These aren't just statistics on page. There are families and children going to bed hungry every single night while we argue. So our plan is we will start a small initial shipment to build trust and prove that system works. At the same time, send agricultural experts to help communities learn to grow their own food. Future aid will be based on the success of project. This isn't about creating dependency, it's about restoring dignity. And if North Korea refused our offer of a partnership, then we should have to respect their decision, and the food would not sit in a warehouse. South Africa would immediately move to redirect it to the Horn of Africa as Somalia.
All right. Wow. That was definitely an action-packed speech. I want to say that this also sort of like I think said someone else before. The first half of your speech, we didn't know what you
Mm,
wanted. So it's like, why do we choose some people in politics? Millions of North Koreans are starving. Only at 30 seconds did you start with your
mm,
plan. But your plan was great after that. Shipment food North Korea, we shall send experts. And you even brought if we refuse, who is going to get it? Drop over
mm,
time. But great. Like you basically you packed in a minute's worth of information from 30 seconds till the end. And that's why I think of the same thing. Like start with what you
mm.
want to do. Like we want to send the food to North Korea, half North Korea, half North Korea, half to Somalia. Like start with that.
Yeah.
Because like everyone's listening and they're like, okay,
Like
but like
there's no point of discussing anything else, like what we're gonna
right.
do. That's
But
the
but
point.
opening with an emotion question of like, why choose between people and politics? If you stop there, fine. But like, these a
Hmm.
million North Koreans are starving. They don't have food security. It was
That's
30 seconds till you got to what you wanted to do. And
okay.
that's a long time in MUN world. Okay.
Okay.
But that being
Yeah.
said, you want the food to North Korea. They should get some food. You also want to drink food sustainability. Really nice. And then if
Yes.
not, Somalia. Very good. Okay, South Africa is done. We're now, thank you, South Africa. Moving on to Spain. Spain, if you're ready, you have the floor.
Yes, Daniel. Yeah, Spain
Spain.
believes that humanitarian aid should promote peace, stability, and international cooperation. North Korea continued missiles testing threatens regional and global security, with over 90% missiles launched in recent years. At the same time, the country faces chronic food shortage, with more than 40% of its population suffering from undernourishment. Spain processed providing 200 tons of food aid through the United Nations agencies. The UN will strictly monitor missiles activity and the humanitarian distribution. If North Korea complies with the both in testing and will be aid will be delivered monthly. If not, the assistance will be redirected to other nations in urgent need. Spain is committed to peace through responsibility.
Who gets the food if not?
Yeah, they will redirect it to another country.
Pick the country.
Uh, Syria, maybe.
Beautiful. Food goes Syria. Doesn't matter where, just making a choice. Very nice. So same thing over here, like I said to South Africa. The beginning of your speech, while it does evoke, emotional language, we waiting like more than half the speech to know who should get the food. Because if you're saying aid should promote peace, North Korea launched over 90 missiles, or 40% suffer from malnourishment. But what do we do with the food? Like, are we still giving it? Like, shooting missiles clearly doesn't stop you from sending food. Half the countries here want to send food, while they don't want future attacks, feel it's acceptable. So saying this doesn't necessarily show a course of action. Like, there's no place for assumptions. You got to be very clear. Tell us, like, you in, you out. That being said, very nice. So, thank you, Spain. We're moving on. Delegate of Sweden. Sweden, you have the floor.
Ask a point of inquiry.
Yes.
What you're doing now of asking a clarification from the opening statement, is that the classical role of the chair, or is that because we're in a course about this?
So I would say this, for me, when I do this with students not at a conference, I also make them clarify because otherwise they don't really have anything to offer, especially if they bring a "we can never give the food to North Korea" speech and they're really proposing nothing. So it really depends on the type of training. So in groups of students, I would say you should always have them clarify so who should get the food because that, at the end of the day, is their policy and thing they're going to be joining on. At a conference, and usually the judges are high schoolers. At this point, I'm more of in a coaching capacity, but in a beginner room, you're able to intervene more, and the more advanced they are, like they shouldn't be getting any help. So for me, when I would chair beginner rooms, I'd pause the committee. I'd tell everyone, hey, like you're all complaining about the country. but you're not offering anything. As a chair, I can't give you credit for an idea if you don't have one. Everyone, please add an alternative country to your speech. They'd all add one, and the debate would be a much better debate. That's what like I've done in committees. And I'd say for your classrooms, if you're looking to have a model UN team and have them, get serious, in the earlier committees, you could even tell them exactly what to say. It's not a natural way of thinking. Over here, by the way, we can see even today, we've had some time to improve, but we're still learning it. But eventually, when they get good and you judge advanced rooms, zero corrections, like their mistakes are theirs to make, and that's how it goes. Like plus also people will call each other out on things. Like there's a lot of room to maneuver. So what I'm doing right now is making sure that everyone here has a policy that everyone else can write down.
So chairs can intervene with questions or even statements in order to improve the room and the debate in the room.
If it's defined as a beginner room, yes, because the purpose is more learning than competing, and people come from different circuits and different club norms. Just like we have different debating societies, or what succeeds in society or in a circuit doesn't necessarily work internationally. So same thing here. Beginner rooms, especially first timer rooms, the chairs have a lot of freedom to intervene, while more advanced rooms, like from intermediate and up, should have no intervention. Intermediate depends, because sometimes there's like weird rooms. For us, by the way, for our final assignment is going to be to create a simulation for our students. It's in the syllabus, but I don't talk about it today. So you can simulate any time period. It doesn't need to be, 2026 talking about North Korea's missile program. It could be anything, anytime, anywhere with, different characters to see the discussion you want. So in this case, I'd say for me, like from an educating perspective, I always tell them which country should get it. If not, because if not, then like if they don't commit to that there, they're doing research trying to figure out later and they don't have anything to anchor to. Because some people's plans are very ambitious. If North Korea tests nothing for 2 years, then they're going to get the food. The chance of that happening seems to be very, very low. So who's really getting the food? And sometimes people don't think about it. So that's why it's right now, everyone here is committed. Now you can change your opinion. But right now, if your plan goes out the window, if you have a food supervision plan and you know that North Korea is not going to allow it, if you don't say the food's going to Syria, we don't know. But now I know if you like Syria, Somalia, Malawi, we all have like our runner-ups, which may allow us to combine with people the way that our ideas may not, or vice versa. All right, so I hope that answered the question. We are down to our final four. So Australia and Qatar, just note you're coming up. Did we do Sweden? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. All right, Sweden, you have the floor.
Honorable delegates, Sweden firmly believes that a child's hunger is not a tool for geopolitical leverage. Cutting off food to starving civilians does not dismantle a missile program. It only fuels regional instability and human suffering. We are not feeding a regime, we are sustaining a population. Sweden outlines the following triple impulse relief plan to prevent the crisis. First assessment, we will conduct an immediate data-driven evaluation of civilian nutritional needs to ensure aid is proportionate and targeted. Then neutral logistics. Supplies will be transported via unbiased vessels, leveraging Sweden's unique diplomatic access to ensure safe harbor and entry. Finally, delivery. Aid will be dispatched in 3 distinct phases to ensure consistent supply chains and prevent local market shocks.
All right, very nice. Wow. So that time control, that was beautiful. Okay. So we have a speech. Same thing I told some other people. There was a lot of sound bites before policy, but once you got into it, bam, one, two, three, very, very clear. But again, a child's hunger is not a tool and it doesn't dismantle programs. Sounds great. But what do you want to do with the food? We don't know. It's like a child's hunger is not a tool, therefore we must give it to North Korea. A child's hunger is not a tool. We should that's the thing. Like we give these quotes thinking it's obviously clear where we're going with it. It's not. It's a
Should
if
be
anything,
like a clear statement.
say your clash. Like and who gets the food if they don't want to?
Sudan.
Okay, so basically to say good, we're building up a whole like world of potential aids. It's like if you say the food should go to North Korea. And if not, to Sudan. Because a child's hunger is not a tool and it doesn't dismantle programs or harm a regime. That works much more than child's hunger is not a tool. And then we're waiting. It was I was counting, it was 30 seconds when you started your policy. Like Quotes, use at your own risk. It's like I'm saying because we're all listening. Everyone here is waiting. Hopefully, everyone is writing down. Is everyone writing down? Okay, so if you're writing down, you're waiting. You're waiting for, okay, can we work together? You want to give them as early as possible. Okay, very nice, Sweden. Moving on to Turkey, our
Uh,
MVP. I'm happy to say
the,
that Rule and I get to see each other in person online a whole bunch of times. And let's hear some speech.
okay. Dear delegates, since Turkey stands at the crossroad of Europe and the Middle East and understands the cost of conflict, Turkey proposes humanitarian and aid in exchange for de-escalation and regional stability. Turkey will provide South Korea with 180 tons of food aid over 6 months. Ongoing conflicts in the region have displaced millions and created severe food insecurity. The United Nations will monitor compliance for a 6 month period. If the agreement is respected, food aid will be delivered monthly. If a violation occur, the aid will be redirected to Sudan. Thank you.
All right. Excellent adding the Sudan at the end. It's very much getting the idea that like we need to bring an alternative. Thought that was really well done. And look, we even have 10 seconds left. If you have extra time, you should say I yield my time to the chair. It means I give my time to the chair. But okay, wonderful. Good idea. Food monthly plan, breakdown. If not, Sudan, really, really clear. Good job, Turkey. United Kingdom, you have the floor.
Yes. The UK offers humanitarian aid in exchange for reduced military escalation. The UK will provide 200 tons of food aid over 6 months. Over 20 million people worldwide face food insecurity. Aid is conditional and monitored by the United Nations. If terms are met, food is delivered monthly. If any violation occurs, all remaining aid will be sent to Yemen, where famine conditions are severe. Thank you. Or like as I said, the chair thing.
Yield time chair, very good. Okay, so the one thing I will say is in your opening your speech, you don't say North Korea at any point. So it's assumed. So like just
Yeah.
clarify it. Like you see
Okay.
you don't say it?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
I
so like
don't.
at
I
least
don't
say who
mention.
should get the food. Yeah, it was a very detailed
Okay.
plan, just like go say the country. Very nice. Okay, thank you for yielding your time to the chair. Australia, you have the floor. If you're here. All right, seeing no Australia, I'm sure it's a good cause.
Can I ask a question?
Yes. Of
Um,
who? It's a
okay,
rules
I didn't
question.
use, excuse me?
It's a question about the rules.
It's a concern connected to the time. We're supposed to talk
Yes,
to up to a minute, correct?
correct.
And then if we don't use our time, we only yield it to the chair at this point,
At
correct?
this point, yes.
And then is it a problem that we speak for half a minute, like the last speaker, or
I
45
mean,
seconds like myself?
so I would say this problem, usually the way you want to finish any speech ever is you want to finish about 5 seconds before the end of the time and make it seem like you had much more to say and you're just choosing the best things. When you finish too early, it looks like you didn't have enough to say. So you want to always make it seem this is like my debate training was you always want to make it seem like you have more to say.
Okay.
And in opening speeches we go through, some people here you saw they couldn't even do it in a minute
Yes.
with endless. So I'm saying generally we want to encourage people to finish their time. Like we
Okay.
have enough important things to say them. Okay,
Thank you.
final country in the opening statements. Qatar, if you're here, you have the floor. All right, and seeing no Qatar, we are going to move on. So for everyone's pages, by the way, I will say now that we've done the opening statements, how does that feel? Does that feel like it was a lot?
Mhm.
It was a lot. Give me a thumbs up if that felt like it was a lot. Okay, good. A few thumbs up. So who felt that was easy? Like I could listen to twice as many of those. Okay, I
One is
got
a good enough number, but maybe if it's more, it becomes really difficult to focus and maintain.
yeah, it's difficult. This is a, spectator survivor sport. And I'm saying like And by the way, we're not used to it yet. I've judged committees of 60, 80 people. I've been in larger ones. It's not easy. Writing saves us because now with your pages, you look at the pluses, you look at the minuses, and you see where things stand. And the reason we feel this is because we did more active listening now to detailed information of 18 people. Like the time right now is 7:43. And we started probably 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in. So this has been only 20 minutes, 25 minutes, but it feels like so much more because we hear this compact information and putting out their positions. It's amazing. So writing is so, so important. But so moving on, we're going to do one more thing, or maybe two. We'll see. We're going to go until about like 8, take a break, and then come back to finish the class. Okay, so we successfully managed to do opening speeches. We saw this. Okay, so now part 3, debate. Okay, so first of all, great job. You managed to, first of all, read your speeches, write your speeches. Now you're much more informed on the countries around and what is happening. We're now continuing with flow of debate, where we have the following. We have general speakers list, moderated caucus, unmoderated caucus, and what is all this? All right. So general speakers list is where you can talk about whatever you want. Moderated caucus is you pick a specific topic. Unmoderated caucus is where you get to walk around, talk freely with people, and that's what we're going to do in breakout rooms when we practice it. Note passing is also a way you can send people notes, just physical paper. People do it on their phones sometimes. Okay, so we're going to start with this. Now, these three move between them. You move between the general speakers list, mod, and unmod, until you come up with a document that you want to vote on. For today, the document can even be just 1 or 2 lines of text, but we have to vote on something. All right? So, general speakers list.
What to do if you have like if you have an opinion that's like not popular and there's not a lot of people who are going to go with that?
There are a few possibilities. One of them is you try to find a bunch of other people with non-popular opinions and create a group. Number 2 is you just drop your idea and join one with more people. Like, and again, the room wants what it wants. So if you're going to lead, like, it's like pick a popular topic and like be the head of it and you will get elected. All right, so countries can speak about whatever they want. There's no limit to the number of speeches, and once a country speaks, they can get right back on the list. Okay, yielding time is to give over. Using yielding time in MUN is the speaker decides to give up the remaining time of his or her speech. You can yield the time to the chair or another delegate. So you can give time to each other. You can finish your speech halfway, Sweden can talk, and then yield time to Indonesia or to Spain. It's up to you. You can yield to friends, you can yield to opponents, but it just gives us another tool that we can use. If we're not sure what to say, we can yield it to the chair. Okay? So we're going to try a few speeches in the general speakers list to illustrate how this works. So I'm going to ask who wishes to be added. Whoever wishes to speak should raise their hands and, or an emoji, and I'll add them to the general speakers list. General speakers list is currently empty. We're going to take 3 or 4 speakers in this list, but everyone should want to be on the list. Why should you want to be on the list, or your students should want to be on the list? Because it shows you're active. If you're not on the list, that means you have nothing to say. Now, what I tell students is if you don't know what to say, just repeat your opening speech. No one remembers it anymore. That life is like advertising. You need reinforcement. You need to see an ad 7 times to not forget it. If your students are going to want to be remembered in the committee, saying it once and thinking someone else remembered it is not happening. Right now, we are more likely to remember the person on mute and that we had to wait for them than we are to what they said. Like we're more likely to remember, let's say if there was an internet shortage, like because we get a lot of information. That's what the pages here really save our life. Okay, so when I ask who wishes to be added, first of all, unless you're called first or second, you will have time to think. But now, as opposed to the previous speeches, now you can start to interact and talk to each other within and between speeches. Okay, so all countries wishing to be at the general speakers list, raise your hands or placards now. And when I call your name, you can put it down. So everybody should want to be on the speakers list. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna go with Japan. You've been recognized. Argentina, you have been recognized. South Korea, you have been recognized. New Zealand, you've been recognized. Nigeria, you've been recognized. Chile, you've been recognized. Please put your
Are we
hands
supposed
down.
all to raise hands?
Yeah, everyone should raise their hand. Actually, let,
Okay.
let me stop sharing. Everyone should see each other. One second
How?
here.
Wait.
There. Can you all see each
Okay.
other? Okay, so UK, you've been recognized. I'll tell you the order we have now. Japan, Argentina, South Korea, New Zealand, Chile, United Kingdom. Anyone else wishing to speak? Raise your hands now. Take your hand down if I already called you.
I raised it without the emoji. I didn't find it.
Okay, Indonesia, you've been recognized. Very nice.
Sweden.
Sweden, you've been recognized. Anybody else?
Turkey, also, I can do it.
Turkey, very good. Okay, great. So we now have a general speakers list. I'm going to be taking probably four speakers just to get the idea. Now you can mention each other by name. It's called echoing, and it's a great way to get someone else's attention. And if you want to do this more specifically, just say like, I agree with, let's say I agree with UK and Turkey. I disagree with Nigeria. Something like that to engage them and start building coalitions because you know who you want to work with. So if you compliment someone, say, I agree with, great idea by Brazil, they're going to start listening. This is how in Model UN, you're starting to call to your allies. Even though you're speaking to the general room, you want to start sending out feelers and signals that you are willing to work with someone because in the end, you need a majority. We need the 16 votes or else it's not going to work. Okay, so we're going to start with so everyone just take your hands down if you have been recognized. And we're going to start with the delegate of Japan. So
How long do we
Japan,
have to
60 seconds. Unless if you want to, we can make time. You can motion to make time shorter
shorter? Oh.
if you want to, or longer, but I'm not going to allow longer. All right.
When should I
So
start?
ready when you are, you can repeat your speech. You can address other countries, engage them. Say, I agree with you. I disagree with you. Why don't we do this? Whatever you want. It's like the point of the general speakers list is just complete free form to say whatever you like. A moderated caucus where we vote on what we want to talk about and then we narrow the discussion. All right, Japan, you have the floor.
I thank the chair very much for the floor. The most important thing right now is to support North Korea in ending their diplomatic isolation. This isn't about giving them a fish. This is about teaching them to fish, or at least giving them the independence to fish within the global stage. It is crucial that we have a meeting with their chairman, as soon as possible, and not only look at the nuclear testing. The nuclear testing is a symptom, a dangerous, critical, crucial symptom, but it is a symptom of their diplomatic isolation. Once we bring them out of this diplomatic isolation and bring them closer to stable states, then the nuclear testing stopping will follow. Germany, Indonesia, you talked about stability, you talked about nuclear testing. I think we should join together with all countries who are for stability and food to the citizens and meet with their chairperson.
Okay, thank you very much. So theoretically, if someone has a question on you right now, they can raise a point of information, and you get to ask if you want to accept it or not. If you accept it, you can get up to 2 points of information, and they're 15 seconds for the question and 30 seconds for the answer. And this can only be done if you finish your speech. Yes, Nigeria, do you have a point of information?
Yes, I do.
All right.
For the delegate of Japan,
Okay,
are
so
you saying that?
wait, hold it before you ask. There's a word. Great, excellent, perfect. I was hoping we'd get a point of information, so thank you, Nigeria. So there's a point of information on the previous speaker. It can only be on the previous speaker. You can't point of information on someone who didn't speak. So your time to point of information is now. Japan, do you accept points of information?
Yes, I'd love to talk more.
Okay, good. That's the right attitude. Okay. Are there any other points of information, by the way? All right. Seeing
Yes,
none,
I would like to ask something.
Argentina. Okay, good. So we see now the rules will allow different amounts of points of information. Some rules of procedure give unlimited points of information. I think that's pretty obstructive because right now we could end up with just Japan talking back and forth before we've even started. So I like it that there's a cap. The general cap for the circuit here is 2 points of information per speaker. So it lets you develop it further, but not so much. And it also gives more time to the speaker to speak. By the way, just an MUN sort of thinking tip. If you're friends with Japan or you like him, you can ask him a really easy question just to give him more speaking time. And if you phrase, he could already see, oh, this is a favorite, this is a friend. So yielding time is a way to make friends and bequeath goodies. All right, so this is how it would work. We're going to see. I go to single speaker. I change the speaking time to 30 seconds. This is how I do it. All right, so we're going to start with Nigeria. Nigeria, you have 15 seconds and I'll cut you off. And then Japan has 30 seconds to answer. And then we have Argentina do the same thing. Nigeria, you have the floor.
Japan, just to reiterate your standpoint, you are pro-distribution, but with conditions. Is that correct?
All right, Japan now has 30 seconds to reply.
Do I actually have to respond or can I say whatever I want? Okay,
You can say whatever you want.
I thank the delegate for Nigeria very much for the question. Yes, we are pro-distribution on 2 conditions. Condition number 1 is a sit down within 3 months between the diplomats of various countries and the chairman of North Korea. And number 2, that they stop the nuclear testing at this time. We think it's time to end their diplomatic isolation.
All right. Thank you very much. Next up, we had a question from Australia, right? No, Argentina. Argentina, you have 15 seconds.
Yes.
Go.
Thank you very much. I would like to know the time frame. So you're saying 3 months for the diplomatic sit down and the freezing of the test. Does that have a specific time cap on it?
A good time control. Japan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much for the question. Yes, we think the test should be frozen until the sit down with the chairperson. So if the sit down with the chairperson doesn't happen, that will be a minimum of 3 months. And we think that the nuclear testing is a risk to us all. We don't want to put conditions on food, but we also don't want to put our children in fear of their lives from nuclear weapons. And we think that this is a good enough reason in order to encourage South Korea to sit down with us and to end the testing.
Okay, very, very nice. All right, thank you very much. So we see now that was a point of information, 2 points of information, 15-second questions, 30 seconds answered, elaborating on Japan's speech, but also the other countries bring their own. So we're starting to see a conversation between the participants. Thank you, Japan. Argentina, you are the next speaker, so you have the floor.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. I would like to say, first of all, that I understand where Chile comes from, that they don't want to send a shipment of food to countries that are doing ballistic missile testing. And I also understand where Japan is coming from, that there is a need to improve the conditions and the situation with North Korea. Therefore, I would suggest Japan. It could be really interesting to give North Korea a chance, but if it doesn't work out, we would have to take 3 steps. One is shipping the food aid to Malawi, to our UN warehouses. And the second one would be to distribute the food through our existing network where we know it can actually work. That's it. I would yield my time to the chair.
Excellent. Very good. All right, thank you very much. So normally in an MUN, I wouldn't ask, are there POIs? I would just move on next speaker, and it's the delegate's job proactively to say, point of information. But I will say here that if that's what you like to do, so the person's finished speaking. Are there any points of information? We don't necessarily need any. All right, seeing none, moving on. Next speech, Republic of Korea.
Hi, can you hear me, dear delegates? Dear Chair, I would like to emphasize a point that I think I was the only one who made that point, is that we would like to send only half of the intended food aid to North Korea. We are willing to work with most countries, for example, Japan, that explained its point, and also Argentina. We feel that we should send the food. We also have conditions. I can repeat them. We feel that shipments must immediately cease if diversion to military or elite is detected, and if the food doesn't go to civilians. We have an alternative of sending to Somalia, but we would like to discuss where the other 50% can go, and we are open to discussions.
Thank you very much. Wow, look at you all filling your time. It's like we get a chance to yield time. Beautiful. All right, thank you very much. Delegate of
I would ask something.
You would what? Or that wasn't us.
I would, what do you call it, point of information?
Oh, you have a point of information?
Yes.
South Korea, do you accept points of information?
Accept, yes.
All right, great. Are there any other points of
South
information?
Korea, would you consider?
Wait. Now we're starting.
Wait,
Argentina
who is the
gets the floor.
speaker, please?
Argentina.
Yes.
Argentina. This is Argentina. Thank you. Would you consider South Korea to send half of the food aid to help Malawi, who are suffering so much due to the drought?
Definitely, I would consider. We would need to read some more information to receive more information. But like we said, we initially only want to send half, and we want to hear possibilities of sending it to other countries. Like I said, Somalia is our choice if the food, if they do not yield to the conditions. But definitely, we're open to thinking of other countries.
Thank you. That's definitely been the time. We see there's 2 more points of information. The chair is going to accept a point of information from...
I have a point of personal privilege.
Yes.
May I?
What is it?
New Zealand asked for the point of personal privileges. She needs to go help her husband like for 5 minutes. Can we please rearrange the speakers?
Yes, you can. Good. I love that. That's a
Thank you.
perfect use of personal privilege. Japan, you have a
point of information.
Okay, do you accept one more point of information, South Korea?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. We're going back to here. Japan, you have 15 seconds. Go.
Thank you, South Korea, for your wonderful words. Would you be open to giving North Korea half of the food like you described when they meet some conditions, and then the other half when they meet additional conditions, for example, a sit down in order to encourage them to do so?
All right, that is your time. All right, South Korea, you have the floor.
No, that's not what we are willing to do, because this is our statement. We are saying we are the neighboring country. We feel for the people of North Korea, but we are only willing to send 50% and not more than that, if they meet their conditions.
All right, thank you very much. Beautiful. So we see here using point information. We're going to engage with these participants. We're going to have one more speech, and then we're going to take our break. So the next speech is New Zealand. Oh, wait, she's just left. Right. Nigeria, you have the floor.
Yes, addressing the delegate of Indonesia, may I please ask you to summarize your stance on food distribution to North Korea? Thank you.
Hold it. This is your 60-second speech, by the way. So if you want to ask her a question, you should say, I yield my time to her, and then she can continue with your time.
I yield my time to the delegate of Indonesia.
All right, very nice. By the way, that was a very smooth use of yield where he said what he wanted to say. So Indonesia, I'm curious to ask you whatever. Now I yield my time. Indonesia now gets to respond. So Indonesia, you have the rest of the time. Indonesia, you have the floor.
Daniel, I'm here, but I'm not sure I have anything to say.
Nigeria, what was your question again?
My question was a request of the delegate of Indonesia to restate or summarize their stance on the food distribution to North Korea.
All right, so you're basically asked to repeat your clash, Indonesia. So you have 30 seconds to repeat your clash, as much of your opening speech as you feel like. Go.
Okay. Well, basically what Indonesia is saying is that we will give the food only if North Korea will keep the the regional quiet, like with no. Okay,
All right,
time's
thank you.
up.
Your time
I
has
don't know.
elapsed.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so with that, I want to offer a motion for a short break. So all in favor. So somebody should motion. Motion is how you ask it. So can we have a motion for a 10-minute break?
Yes, we have a
Okay.
motion for a half an hour break.
That's so we still have to go to bed, but that's overruled. Okay, is there any motion for a 10-minute break? Any motions?
Yes.
Okay, can someone motion? I'm not motioning, I'm the chair. Okay, I see Argentina, you have a motion. What is your motion?
I have a motion for a 10-minute break. Chair, could we have a
Okay,
10-minute
so all
break?
right, now wait, we're doing this according to procedure. We're here to learn Model UN. So motions is how you ask for something in diplomatic speak. There are many motions, by the way. I do say this is not how it works in courtrooms. This is how it works in Model UN procedure. Motion moderate caucus or a coffee break. The way it works, you have seconds and objections. Motions need seconds to pass. When the motion is offered, the chair asks for seconds. If there's at least 1 second, the chair asks for objections. Motions without seconds automatically fail. Without objections automatically pass. Each of them, then we all need to vote. So, with that in mind, do we have a motion for a break? Are there any seconds?
Yes.
Are there any objections? All right, seeing no objections, this motion passes. It's 8:04. Be back here at 8:14. Have a good break. All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to our simulation where we are learning the rules of Model UN. So as we all get comfortable, I would like to welcome us back with roll call because that is how we know who is here. And I'll also probably do attendance for the course, but we're going to start with roll call. Actually, no, we'll start with attendance, and then we'll do roll call. Recording. All right, and we are back. So the first thing we're going to do is roll call. So it's a question if we'll see each other or the roll call. So I'm going to disable this so that we can see each other, and I'm going to call your names, but it's alphabetical. You'll see it over here. So, Argentina,
Present and voting.
Australia,
Present and voting.
Chile,
Present and voting.
Germany,
Present and voting.
Indonesia,
Present and voting.
Japan,
Present and voting.
Kenya, no Kenya, New Zealand,
Present and voting.
Nigeria,
Present and voting.
Qatar.
Present and voting, Kenya. Sorry.
Oh, okay, excellent. Republic of Korea, South Korea,
Present and voting.
South Africa,
Present and voting.
Spain, Sweden,
Present and voting.
Turkey,
Present and voting.
United Kingdom.
Present and voting.
Beautiful. All right, so we now have 14 here, almost as many as before. Simple majority is 8. Okay, well done. So now we're going to move on to the next part of the rules. So we did the general speakers list. We saw we could talk about whatever we wanted, and while we had some good questions and we had some good discussion, in the end, each speech could be very disconnected from the previous one, which is why the questions were so important. That South Korea's plan did mention some other countries, but everyone could talk in their own direction. So how do we narrow ourselves to something more focused? So that's the moderated caucus over here. And that's the one additional thing we're going to try before we rest for today. So general speakers list, talk about whatever you want. Moderated and motions is how we ask for things. So when I open the floor to motions, everyone here can motion for something. In this case, we'll motion for a moderated caucus. So what is the moderated caucus? It's a discussion of a specific topic. Mods require a total time, individual speaking time, and topic of discussion in that order. So for example, the United States motions for a moderated caucus of 5 minutes, 30 seconds speaker time on the topic of giving food to countries not developing nuclear weapons. Okay, so we understand. Total time, speaker time, and the topic we're going to discuss, and we can decide if we second or object to this topic. Moderated caucuses Okay, so this is the script. So I'm going to open the floor to motions. And if any country here wishes to offer a moderated caucus, I tell people generally your mod should be your clash if you don't know what else to say, because that's a policy. It's something people can discuss and think about. All right. So we're going to open the floor to motions and we're going to do one moderated caucus and see how that works. Okay. So are there any motions on the floor? If there's a motion you'd like to have, please raise your hands. And if you're not sure what your motion is, your clash can be your motion. If you don't want to add something, built on the discussion that we've had, like how likely is North Korea won't test weapons? Very good. New Zealand, what is your motion?
Can I see the? Okay, never mind. I'll improvise.
Here you go.
So New Zealand motions for the moderated caucus of 5 minutes speaker time on the topic of ironclad framework of giving the aid to North Korea.
1 second. Okay, so I'm gonna use the software for this part. I don't normally do it in committees, but it's gonna be helpful for the following reasons. So here we go. Here is, by the way, in the bottom, if you see there's all these tags, here is motions. Wait, here, motions. So we're adding a new motion, adding a motion, topic, ironclad framework, duration is 5 minutes. How much is the speaker time?
Each speaker or
Yeah,
me?
each speaker. Everyone gets talk the same.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. 30 seconds. Okay, and the topic and the country you chose this is New Zealand. Okay, New Zealand. Now, before we motion on this, the question I have to ask everyone is the topic ironclad framework to give North aid to North Korea. Are there any seconds? Does anyone want to see this discussed? If you second, please raise a hand. Are there any seconds? Okay, seeing one. Are there any objections?
Yes, there are objections.
Good. Okay. Seeing seconds and objections, the motion is tabled. That means we're putting it on the table and we're going to get other motions and vote on them all. Now, why was this important? With no seconds, it would automatically fail. With no objections, it would automatically pass. But luckily, Sweden and Argentina saw that they needed objections, that would happen. And so we now have 2 and 2. Now, we don't know where everybody stands. When we vote, everyone has to vote. Okay, so we're submitting this to our table of motions. And we're now going to ask, are there any other motions on the floor? Are there any other motions on the floor? I'd like at least one other one.
I'm willing to try.
Good. Let's try.
Okay, Argentina motions for a moderated caucus of 3 minutes, 15 seconds, 30 seconds per speaker, time on the topic of conditions.
Okay, the chair would say, please be more specific. Conditions is really like conditions for what?
Okay, conditions that need to be met for North Korea to receive the aid.
All right, very good. So this is a very clear motion. So good job. Your first motion is one we all understand. Like what conditions we need for them to receive aid. Okay, so I'm going to go to the software. We'll add a motion. This is the topic.
Point of information.
It's not, you can't point of information another delegate here. You can talk to them during the mod. I'll explain how that works. But in this point, when the chair is taking motions, there's no
Point of inquiry then.
Yes, point of inquiry. That works. Good.
How is that different from the ironclad framework? Same conditions.
Okay, so okay, being honest here, as the chair, it doesn't seem very different. And if this wasn't a first time thing, it was a regular committee, I would rule it as dilatory, which means redundant, and I would probably ask it to be rephrased or knocked it off. But because I'm just so happy that we're offering motions, I was like, we'll let it go. But now that you brought it to our attention, I would say this: it's mostly a time difference. Okay, so although fine. Are there any other motions on the floor? Ideally, different motions.
What about objections?
Can I
Oh,
ask
sorry, right,
again,
right.
what was
Right. Okay, good.
what was
Okay,
the
so
problem with
okay,
the
so the problem that New Zealand has, and by the way, just to make things even more fun, there's a point that I didn't teach because I don't teach it to beginner students, but are in the actual rules called a point of order. When the chair does something illegal, you can point of order, and then the chair it is illegal, the chair brings the committee, and the committee chooses if to go with the chair's decision or not.
Can
So,
you add it to the presentation?
um, I don't because it's like we have rules of procedure that we have in addition where it's written very clearly. This is a beginner's presentation. We don't overwhelm them with too many things. But anyone who's interested, I'll make a note to put the full rules of procedure and a link in the thing. You can read them. They're much more detailed.
Okay.
Actually, and I'll go one second. Full MUN ROP. Is this the download? Or is this the download? One of these. Here we go. So here's rules of procedure template download. I'm putting it in the chat so everyone just has it. And no, okay. Great. No. No. All right, and if you want people to download the link, here's rules of procedure download link. So you can read all the specifics there. There's a lot of fun things like they're really like for an MUN first intro course. I'm not getting into all of the different details, but if something pops up, I'll point it out. Um, but yeah, so theoretically if you want, by the way, I really like the use. I will say that like for Anna that she said point of inquiry, she wanted to say, hey, these topics are the same, and she found a way through the rules to do so. Because you're not like when motions are coming on the floor, like the chair should be the one to point out that it's similar. I did it as an encouragement thing, but I think we could probably have a debate on our own on how different or not they are. Because I would say this, push comes to shove for a beginner room, I would say an ironclad framework is different from conditions in the level of severity. But at the end of the day, they could be seen as, similar enough. So that was the issue. She's saying an ironclad framework to give food is similar to conditions for food. And they are similar enough that I could see. It did cross my mind, but I just wanted to get more motion. So, can someone else offer a motion? You can just offer your clash. It can be about Malawi, but like I'd like to have a third motion with a slightly different direction before we go to voting.
again, I'm just asking about
Yes.
Iran. It's more specific. You're being more you are being specific about a certain country framework rather than discuss other possible conditions or
Exactly. And that's, by the way, why it should be right now. Again, this is a beginner room and we're really just learning the rules. But for MUN wise, anyone who doesn't want North Korea to get the food should not let both motions be about North Korea. They should bring another country into the mix. Because, like, if we're talking about North Korea, whatever way you slice it, we're not talking about Yemen. We're not talking about Argentina or Malawi or, Sudan. All right, Japan, you have a motion?
The delegate for Japan would like to motion to discuss opening
No, no.
diplomatic talks.
Wait, you use the script?
Delegate of Japan, sorry, Japan motions for a moderated caucus of 5 minutes, 30 seconds speaker time on the topic of diplomatic talks with North Korea.
Okay, so North Korea seems to be the star of at least today's motions. Are there any seconds? Are there any objections? I'm seeing no objections.
I do object.
Okay, seeing seconds and objections. Um, 1 second. So duration was 5 minutes times 60 seconds. And this is Japan's motion. Submit. Okay, we're now going to vote on the motions. So thank you, Japan, for a motion in some form different direction. We can see over here, by the agenda of the committee is food aid to North Korea. Beautiful. Okay, now the motions are voted on in the order of what is the most disruptive. That means it's the most different from the other motions. So the most disruptive is the most different. The most different from what is normally done. Normally, it's the general speakers list. Okay, so if the general speakers list is what we normally do, anything that's different is disruptive, is deviating. And the more different the motion, like motion to proceed to voting, would take precedence because it's more disruptive. Unmoderated caucus, where we talk around and lobby with each other, is more disruptive. Over here, we can see that they're all the same motion, so long beats short because a longer period of time is more different from the general speakers list. So we have here the ironclad framework with 5 minutes, 30 seconds. We then have Japan's diplomatic talks, and then we have the conditions for 3 minutes. Okay? So we're going to vote on each of these, and we're going to basically talk about whichever one wins. So everyone now has to vote. I want to see everyone's hand in the air for one or for the other. So all in favor, by the way, back in the COVID days, I would do a poll and then we'd see for or against and I'd count the numbers, but it's nicer to see people pick their hands up. So all in favor of the 5 minute moderated caucus, 30-second speaker time topic of ironclad framework to give food to North Korea. All countries in favor, raise your hands now. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. All countries against this motion, raise your hands now. Raise your placards now. Take your hands down if you are not. 1, 2. I need hands down if you voted for the previous one. Keep your hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, Marvin, you're against or for?
You said keep your hands up for the previous one.
No, sorry. Keep your hands down. Okay, so my mistake. Try again. All in favor and then all against. Make sure. Okay, so all in favor of the motion, ironclad framework to give aid to North Korea. Raise your hands if you are in favor. 1. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. Hands down. All hands down. I want no hands. Marvin, I still see your hand. Sarit, I still see your hand. Okay, take your hands down. Thank you. All against. All against. Only if you are against. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, not everybody voted. All hands down. Please, we're going to do this one more time. Everyone, please make sure to vote. All in favor of a 5 minute moderated caucus talking about the ironclad framework to give food aid to North Korea. All in favor, raise your hands. Sweden, if you're in favor, your hand is already up. Great. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Thank you. Hands down. Tom, I don't know what you're doing there. It's like, okay, you're in favor? Kenya, are
Can
you
you
in favor?
without raising, maybe it's a little bit confused for others.
Yeah, okay.
Can you?
All against. Everybody of against, raise your hands now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this doesn't make so much sense. 5 and 4, given that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Okay, so this even if Kenya would have been in favor, it still would have won. So with 6 votes, with 4 votes in favor, or 5, and 6 votes against, this first motion for moderated caucus fails. We're now moving on to the next one, diplomatic talks with North Korea, the motion by Japan, 5 minute mod, 30-second speaker time. All countries in favor of this topic, raise your hands now, raise your placards now. 1, 2, keep your hands up, keep your hands until I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, hands down, please. I want to see 0 hands. Everybody against, raise your hands. Now everyone has to vote. If you're not for, you're against. One, two, three, four, five, six. All right. With five in favor and six against, this motion fails. We're now moving on to conditions for North Korea to receive aid. This is Argentina's motion. All countries in favor of this motion, please raise your hands. Now, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Oh, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. All right. Whoa. One, three, four, five, six, seven, nine. All against. Everyone against this motion, raise your hands now. If you are against. One, two, three, four. Okay, I don't know how the math multiplied there, but let's say okay. With nine in favor and four against, somehow we went from like, I don't know, 11 to 13, but great. This motion passes, and we're now moving into a moderated caucus. Now, once a moderated caucus passes, we offer the person who offered the motion the ability to choose if they're going to speak first or last. So, Argentina, as this was your motion, would you like to speak first or last?
Last, please.
Okay, so I will correct you now. You always want to speak first. Okay, never speak last. I'm saying I always with students I say the same thing, and the reason is this: if you don't speak, you're going to have someone else define and set up your motion for you. We think that this is the same type of thing. We keep thinking our last line is our strongest. Let's wait for the punchline. It is the opposite in Model UN. People have no patience. By the time you're at your last sentence, they're already way, way ahead. And if you leave it open, someone like me who is a troll will take your motion and drag it in a very different direction. And I've done that a bunch of times, just waiting. It's like first or last, they choose last. I'm like, okay, who wants to go first? I'll go first. I say the delegate here talked about conditions for North Korea, but by conditions, they're saying they're never going to meet their conditions. You know who is Malawi? And now let me give you 20 seconds on why Malawi should be the talk. And then I bring in some other people. We're just talking about Malawi the whole time. So
That's exactly what I wanted to say.
perfect. Great. See, I'm a mind reader. Okay, so do you want to speak first or last?
I would love to speak first.
Perfect. Okay, there we got it. So Argentina is going to speak first. Now, the way a mod works, should work, and generally is as soon as the speaker is done, people pick their hand up. So instead of waiting in line like the general speakers, it's a much faster conversation. Okay, and you're going to see how this is a much more engaging type of debate. So Argentina's first. As soon as she's done, I'll ask
How
which
long do
delegates.
you have? Oh, wait, I have.
30,
How long did
30
I say?
sec,
30 seconds.
it's a 3-minute mod, 30-second speaker time. Okay?
Yes.
So, by the way, I can see everybody. So as soon as she's down, you pick up your hand, we'll pick the next person. So, Argentina, you have the floor.
Dear delegates, we all know that the conditions are not going to be met by North Korea because they have a long history of violence and testing their ballistic missiles. And therefore, we need to look for a valid alternative and help people. And I think Malawi is the best candidate because they are a peaceful nation who have had very bad luck with climate change and El Nino. And we need to help those 1,500,036 people who are starving there.
Wow. Thank you very much for that exact number that you use. Next country wishing to speak, raise your hands now. So I'll show here, I'm looking around, I see people raising their hands. Next one to speak is Chile. Chile, you have the floor.
Chile,
Put your
Chile
hands
shares
down.
Argentina. Sorry. Chile shares Argentina's concerns regarding North Korea. We believe that if the aid is given to North Korea, it should be distributed by UN personnel, not North Korean personnel. We strongly suspect that the North Korea will not meet the conditions. The Republic of Chile would support giving it to Malawi and, over North Korea.
All right, thank you very much. Next delegates wishing to speak. Pick your hand up if you'd like to speak.
I have a question, nothing. I don't want to speak right now. So the whoever wants to speak right now can choose to say whatever they want, whether it's on the topic
it should be on the topic, but it's a living discussion. The point is that the committee decided this is what they wanted to talk about. And while people can do whatever they want, it's much faster, and the committee has agreed on this. So right now, You can keep going back to that. Look, there's nothing illegal about saying we don't want to talk about conditions. They'll never meet the conditions. But like the framing is, imagine right now we all thought of what we wanted. We just voted two ideas down. So this is the direction that we at least in principle want to go. All right, next delegates wishing to speak, raise your hands now if you'd like to speak. We're going to take the delegate of New Zealand. New Zealand, you have the floor.
Thank you.
Everyone,
So New Zealand maintains an unwavering stance. We absolutely have to support the civilian population of North Korea. However, we cannot be allowed to strengthen the regime. That's why we propose an absolute ironclad framework, because because North Korea has proven in the past to be uncooperative and completely resistant to transparency.
thank you very much, delegate. Next delegates wishing to speak, raise your hands if you'd like to speak. By the way, if you spoke, you can always raise your hand again. And if no one else does, you'll speak again. All right, we're going to take Nigeria. Nigeria, you have.
Number of times?
You can speak as much as you want. Sometimes people do a 20-minute moderated caucus, and if most of the room's quiet, the same people are going to keep talking. So, Nigeria, you have the floor. So everyone, like, if you want to talk, just keep your hand up. If you're in the house aren't picking up their hand, your odds are pretty good. Nigeria, you have the floor.
The delegation of Nigeria recognizes the concerns of the delegations of Argentina, Chile, and also New Zealand, but would also ask the other delegations to bear in mind that the government does not necessarily represent the people in this situation. The people are suffering and they need assistance. I would ask that we think about solutions or conditions and not simply box them out.
Thank you, delegate. Your time has elapsed. Next country wishing to speak, we're going to give the floor to Turkey. Turkey, you have the floor.
Dear delegates, the most important thing for Turkey is to save people and not to let them pay the price of political conflict. We do agree that a nuclear weapon should be only used peacefully, but I think that we should give North Korea the chance to change its policy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Delegates wishing to speak, please raise your hands now if you would like to speak. Next speaker is New Zealand again. Zune, you have the floor.
Thank you. I think we can all agree on the fact that North Korea cannot be trusted diplomatically as a government at all. But we cannot ignore the civilian population, and that's why we need to work in that direction. We need to focus on giving them aid, and we need to focus on not strengthening the regime, the government. Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one more speaker. Everyone raise your hands if you would like to speak. All delegates, final speech of this caucus. I see Argentina. Argentina, you have the floor.
The World Food Program works with nations, and therefore we cannot afford to work with a nation like North Korea, who cannot be trusted to take the peaceful road. And we need to look for alternatives in order to help civilians, because people all over the world are starving. And as Chile so nicely stated, we should help those people who are starving in peaceful nations.
Thank you very much. This caucus has elapsed. All right. That was definitely faster and more dynamic. So good job. I think now we should wrap for today because we're already reaching the final throws, but I'm glad we're all warmed up. That was definitely fun and we're in it. I just know that finish this could take another hour. So are there any motions to suspend debate for today? Nigeria.
I would like
Yes,
to try
I would like to motion to suspend the debate for today.
All right. Any seconds? Any
Yes, I
objections?
second.
Any objections? Okay, Sweden objects, so we're all going to vote. Who votes to? I saw your hand in the air for objection.
I was still raising my hand
I don't
with the
know.
seconds.
Got to be faster. Okay, all in favor of suspending debate for today, raise your hands now. 1, 2, 3. Oh, suddenly said unanimous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Beautiful. All against? Anyone against? Sweden's not against anymore? Okay, great. Well, now Japan's against and Nigeria is against, but we gotta take our hands down. Okay, so first of all, we're officially suspending our simulation for today. Good job on getting into Model UN, getting our feet wet. So congratulations, everybody. next week, it's going to get even better. We're going to basically start with opening statements. If you want to amend your opening statements, you can. We're going to do only your clash. So it's going to go faster to reach the same place. We're going to do general speakers list, a bit of a mod, and then we're going to get into the unmod and writing all of that. So that's for next week. But you'll
Position?
what?
Can you change your position?
Yes, you can do whatever you want. So everyone is like it's not required. You can come with the same thing. You can also come with something different. The discussion will be the MUN. Like it's like the same people. We can do it completely different at a different time. Okay, so I want to just quickly review what we did today, so that we like while it's fresh in our minds, because we okay. So today we started with Model UN, and we already start to understand a few things. First of all, we understand here what roll call is. Opening statements. We already got into the debate, and we see how we moved from the general speakers list to the moderated caucus, where we chose the topic and we voted. And we see how within again, Model UN simulations are at least 5 hours long in this country. They can go up to 8, and internationally it's 3 days with anywhere from 12 to 24 hours of debate. So you can see how moving between different types of things, seconding and objecting and making ideas live and killing them, require teamwork and working together. And we're just starting to see how we can talk to each other, ask each other questions, give each other time as a collaborative activity. None of your motions would have passed without you helping and working with each other. So we learned about the opening speeches, we learned about the general speakers list, the moderated caucus, we learned about motions and seconds and objections. We're already starting to have and roll call, and we start to have a language. It's a language of procedure that we understand how to use the rules. And even, by the way, I'd say like the move of the day goes to New Zealand, who saw that a motion was given that was identical to the previous motion or similar enough. She wanted to get it out there, but she wasn't allowed to do a point of information because that's only during the general speakers list. She said, point of inquiry, what does that look like? And that's also the type of thing, how we use the rules. How sometimes if people want to go home, and I wanted to say, hey, what about Sudan? I would say, wait, another motion. Motion to suspend, motion for a moderated caucus for 2 minutes, 20 seconds speaker time on giving the food to Sudan. Now, because it's the end of the day, I know I'm going to get outvoted, but I got to say it to everyone before the end. So there's also the aspect of rules. So we covered a lot of things today. And I would say really good job to everyone for speaking, for getting into it, for rolling with it, and it's gonna get even more fun next time as we know all of these things. Are there any questions on the MUN stuff we did? Okay, great. So I want to say one more thing that I just want to flag in our minds. Yes, you have a question? Yes, you with the New
Yes,
Zealand
but
flag.
not on what we learned today about the homework. We
Right.
have
Okay.
lesson
Yeah.
6 and lesson 7. Can you please elaborate? Because I'm honestly I'm lost at this point. It has this. I've been rewriting the same speech
Okay.
like 500 times. I don't know what should I
For
send
sure.
anymore.
Okay. Well, we'll go over it together. We'll just get into Moodle. All right, let me time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, we all having fun? Great. That's the most important thing. We're gonna be eating at these hours of the night. Okay, where is my Kudimut? I really miss the days before two-step verification. We could just have a name and password and didn't have to use a number off your phone all the time. All right, let's go into our Moodle and see what we have. Of multiple people here. So if we can all share, I'm happy for people to share their final assignments. I don't need it just to sit with me for like a grade. So if anyone here has a cool idea for simulation somebody else likes, welcome to share and do with each other's students. That's the idea. So the final submission is sort of like a lesson plan of up to 2 pages. Shouldn't be long, and I will put the instructions online, which is first of all like where and when it is, who are the characters, how many characters, what's the situation, what are we discussing. And I'm going to be putting that. I just want us to start thinking, what's a cool discussion to have? Could be the independence. It could be, should we, make all the buildings in Jerusalem with Jerusalem stone? It can be historical. It can be whatever you want. The goal is that the kids have to play characters discussing a topic that you are going to choose and give some background to, like we are doing now. Yes, question.
Just clarification. So just as we did with North Korea, the whole data about North Korea, we have to rewrite and make something our own, right?
Correct.
Am I understanding correctly?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. It's picking a topic, and you tend and the participants, they need to know what they are. Are they countries? Are they
Yeah, yeah.
people? Are they, people today? Are they scientists? Are they musicians? Whatever. So there's no limit to the UN, but the goal part, like the big thing we're taking here is to learn through simulation. And Model UN, the UN brings the most stakeholders, the most places around the world. So that's why it's the most popular such activity that exists. But for the end, I want you guys to take something back to your class that you're excited to do. Now, you're more than welcome to do the UN, and you're more than welcome to have people be countries. There's a lot of research available, but I'm not limiting it to that. So that's the final thing. And in our final meeting together, everyone's going to present their ideas. It's going to be a, presentation idea sharing, which I think will be a lot of fun.
It's
Okay.
presentation and the 2 pages?
What you're submitting is the 2 pages, which the goal with 2 pages is that we give them to anybody else or you, and it tells you what to do for the class. It can be 1 page.
Okay.
It could be anywhere from I don't want it longer than 2 pages. I don't want it much
Okay.
shorter than 1 page. But again, it's where it's happening, what's happening, whatever relevant background, who are the characters, and how, like, what type of debate is it going to be like framed as being. I'm going to put all this out there. You're going to have it. I'm just saying that we can start thinking about it now. Now that we've done some MUN and we see the discussions we had and the rules that we use, we can start playing with it. All right. Are there any other questions?
No.
Awesome. So I want to wish everyone a great night. Great seeing you. Thanks for jumping in the world of diplomacy, and we'll see you all next week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. Good night.
Thank you, Daniel. Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Did you open up lesson 6?
Daniel,
Saying it.